Welcome, lovely one, to the Meant for More podcast. My name's Lisa Clifford, and I am building the world's most empowering Meant for More movement, leading millions of heart-led purpose seekers from feeling insignificant to invincible. So I truly hope you enjoy this next episode. And welcome. Today we have a fireball of energy. We have Jinter Faro, and I look down at my notes slightly because I know her as Amber Love. She's got a stage name. Get us, we've got a guest on with a stage name. And I remember, I don't think I'll ever forget the first time I met Jinter. I was at a York Professionals
networking event.
Yeah, networking event. And this larger than life personality, full of love and life and connection. We just magneted towards each other. I did kind of think, oh my goodness, this is just an amazing woman who you were just embodying being so present, so alive, so happy. And you'd come to that network because you were thinking of moving to York.
That was my first coming to York.
And you found a network to come to see if you could belong here, if you felt that sense of belonging, which I just have so much admiration for Jinter. But let me tell you what Jinter does. And this session, Jinter.
Gintare. You can call me Amber. It would be easier.
Yeah,
it means the same. Amber is Gintare, so you call me my name anyway.
Well, I'm going to call you Amber because I can't get my tongue around that. Amber's mission in life, I love, is bringing people home into their bodies through Tantra. Now, I'm going to say up front right now, Amber has full permission to share as much or as little as she likes. I doubt it'll be little. And we have no idea where this conversation is going. We always start off with the meant for more question because this podcast is all about when you have that feeling, that stirring, that ache in your body where you know you are meant for more. And so that theme is right up Amber's street. That is the theme of today's session. So I'm going to warn you in advance of me not having any clue of what's coming up because we don't know where the conversation's going, but it is going to be around that mission. I want this conversation to be around that mission of bringing people home to their bodies. And there's so much I want to say about that already.
Please say everything. I'm happy to hear you. Like, what do you feel? What is it? What is all about?
I could end up disclosing so much.
And you'll be right.
It's that I think already I want to say is how detached we get from our bodies. But that is something I want us to pick up during the conversation because
please.
I think that's exactly why you're doing this mission is our bodies become something that we observe, we criticize, we judge, we test, we measure, we observe.
Yes.
We celebrate, we manage, and sometimes neglect, and sometimes abuse, and sometimes sabotage, and sometimes preen. There's so much that we do with our bodies, and it's usually we're doing something to it.
Yes, always.
So that was just my initial outpouring just for your mission. And so, my lovely.
Yes.
Share an experience or a time in your life where you've had that feeling of knowing that you're meant for more, and then how did you get the clarity of what that more was? What did the feeling feel like? How did you get the clarity? What was it? And how did you step into it?
Okay, I will answer that question very soon. But before that, I want to show my appreciation for bringing me into your space. Talk to me, hear me, present me, and also help me to be more, because that's part of who I want to be. And you are a crucial person for York, because I came to York event as Tantric Journey Educator. That was so random. That's true. But that was so random in that space.
Yeah.
And then I had to really see and feel, can I be home here in the city? I don't know. I know no one, but my heart is calling to come here. And when you cross me and you said, is there a place to sit? And I said, you can sit on my lap. That's the
I
first thing.
remember.
Yes.
And I looked at your lap and I thought, I don't think it's big enough.
No, it's strong enough, believe me. So then I saw that gorgeous lady, and after I said, whatever you do, I follow. And then the next time I came to York was fire event. Before that, I was already house hunting. And then in your beautiful firemen, everyone will come and go there at least 3 times per year, or any as much as you can. Because then I asked for the fire, for Yorkshire fire, and then the land, please, like if I belong here, or if, like, I asked permission just to come. And within the 3 days, I got a house.
Wow. So Amber's talking about a firewalk evening
Yes, your
that you
evening.
came to. Again, you didn't know anybody. You
No.
showed up in your full spirit. You know, you are somebody that I see plays full out, all in everything that you do, every conversation. You are so present and so looking for everything that there is to celebrate. I mean, that's so rare.
Thank you.
Firewalk evening, you were saying, I want the fire to be hotter, you know, which is unusual for people to say, but it's that when you are a fire energy, you want to feel the fire. You want to connect with the fire as you walk over it. You want to feel the heat of it as it goes into your being, don't you?
Yes. And that's
Um,
the thing, that's now the fire and opposite the fire can bring now for that, when I felt I'm meant for more, because I was born in Lithuania. That time, 1983 was Soviet Union still. So that was dull, that was gray. People living their lives in some way I did not understand. And in that moment as a child, I felt like, is that all from life? Because when I was saying, like, the nature's talking to me, the river is talking to me, like, they would say, you're crazy. So there was a time when I was dimming my light, that I felt like bursting happy child, going, picking mushrooms with my grandparents, being with nature, with animals, and then suddenly saying, like, no, you are from the family that, like, well, my mom was a cleaner that moment. I didn't have a father. And they were so random. And like, I was looking at all people around. It's like, no, I'm meant for more. And as a child, I didn't know what more means. But for me, was a decision that, okay, how can I get out from here? And I chose something that my family did not choose. That was an education. And I said, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna study. And I went to university, to the free university. I mean, my grades were high enough not to pay for studies. Otherwise, I would not be able to afford. My family would not support me. And then it was just starting the discovering what that even more means, because I had to go out from that gray, dull, abusive environment. And I can sadly say very abusive too.
was it? And where was the, if you don't mind me asking, where was the abuse coming from? Was it from within the family or was it
So
neighbors?
there are there are some memories of really a young childhood that things happened to me, even sexually, but I was not aware of that. Later, my mom was in a place where she did all her best she could, but in some moments, probably I was too much, and my brother was maybe a bit too much. And like, if like jumping the story, so we both wanted to commit suicides. I tried twice, I survived. He tried, he succeeded. So he, I don't know, is he luckier than me, or I'm a bad in trying to do that. And that was very young age. It was maybe just 10, 12 years old when I wanted even to quit my life by drinking all the medication from my mom's. Like, I was thinking, like, if I have all the pills, like I eat them, I was just still like not understanding. Then I gonna end this life because it's not worth living. But when twice I didn't succeed, I said, okay, now I need to do something about it. Yeah, my mom was abusive physically. I had an uncle who was, I can't say abusing, he was doing something silly. I cannot even describe. It was sexual and sexual abuse in some way, but in that such a tricky way that I did not even reject. I was more like in a freeze mode. And after
Yeah.
befriend mode, I know now what does that mean. Freezing, befriending. So I was befriending. And
It's a survival mechanism, isn't it?
yes, yes,
In a
yes.
split second, your unconscious has to make a decision one way or the other, but because it's unconscious, it happens automatically. You've got freeze, flight, fight, fawn. And
Yes.
so when it's family, it's safer. Well, I don't want to say it's safer to fawn. I don't think none of it feels safe, but I can fully appreciate why fawning would be a go-to. So what happened for you then? You learned such a lot at such a young age. What happened
Yes,
for
I think
you?
the biggest healers are the worst or biggest wounded people. And that's why I can only talk from my experience and share how did I overcome, because that story would never affect me. I faced that man when I was 18 later. I just looked into him while he was eating his ice cream, shaking with his, because I was already 18. All what he did to me did not penetrate me, but that's it. The rest he did. Having
Right.
a family and kids. So I was looking at his eyes and like, okay, what do you want now? Because then already being a bit more adult, like say, okay, he did not even dare to say anything. And later I shared that with my mom, later when I had courage. And still, it's like it's so easy to blame an sexual or even the child. You see, like there is so much sexuality in me since the childhood. That man was just not conscious. He was responding to my vibe, and he had no permission. So that's why I would even bring that theme. What my work is about also, to bring the consciousness in men, conscious touch, conscious communication, seeing a skirt, short skirt, or even naked body, seeing my breast, that's not an invitation.
Yeah.
And like through the body work and through that, for me, capacity to hold that space and not to be afraid anymore, I can really help a lot. And these methods can look like, what is she doing? But I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I would say like not conscious men are responding. Even fathers, parents are abusing their girls because they're just exploring, and they be touching some parts, and it's up to a man not to respond.
Yeah. As you say, to be conscious and have boundaries.
Yes,
It's
that's
powerful.
that's whole.
It's powerful stuff. And I mean, and so it's interesting because you are about the connectivity with your own body and accept, well, what are you about? I'm about to do your talking for you here, aren't I?
Please, please, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
What about myself?
Well, I'm feeling like,
Please.
your work it can be misconstrued as sexual promiscuous, say the word.
Promiscuous?
Promiscuous. It can be misconstrued as that when you hear
Yes.
tantra or tantric sex, or it can be
Yes.
misconstrued as being liberated without any boundaries. But what I'm
Yes.
hearing from you is actually this is an essential bringing home of pieces of ourselves that we've abandoned, that we've neglected, that we have judgment over, that we've not felt safe feeling because there's a risk, as you say, that someone, men or women, may not be able to manage themselves.
Yes.
So I need to manage myself for them. So that, and I think there's some religions, isn't there, where a woman would be blamed for
Being
looking at,
sexual.
yeah, looking attractive, that if a man can't control himself, it's the woman's fault, not the man's fault. I
Yes.
don't know
I would
specifically
still say it's
exactly where
not
that's
women's
from.
fault, but it is also that all women should be aware of. It's not your fault but you don't go like, you don't jump into the shock pool if you know that's gonna happen. Still doesn't mean that you need to cover yourself, but you have to be really aware and read the field where it's really safe, because you know, if you are coming in an environment which is really not conscious, you're gonna be hurt. So like, what if a woman would invite themselves home and being fully dressed up, can they still be sensual? Can they still be that alluring, magnetizing, and that like inviting energy? That is super attractive.
Ask, because one might think that if somebody's had this incredibly vulnerable, abusive experience, that it may lead you to go in a completely different direction, switch off, disconnect, which I'm
Yes.
very glad it didn't. But how did you bridge from being in that vulnerable, abusive environment to being so alive and so connected to every part of yourself? How did you bridge that?
So there can be different methods, and my journey took years and years of recovery and different modalities. However, in Tantra, you can go straight to the point through the body work. But in that moment, what you are doing, and of course, for the beginning, for that vulnerable lady, that would be the best to work with a female and bring back that trauma, per se, or that emotion stored in the body. Sometimes we don't even know. So in the tantric session, you become like an explorer, detective. Okay, what is happening in this body? Because every time you don't know, you know nothing. Even the story is not everything. For example, there was a lady in Berlin when I was working. I was working for a while in Berlin, and it was during the yoni massage. Yoni is a word, Sanskrit word for of a vagina. The moment my finger went inside her yoni with slowness and stiffness, like with slowness, her body immediately contracted, like she get into some kind of paralysis. I knew theoretically what does that mean, but in my experience I didn't have that before. But because of training, we really nicely went through, all the body relaxed, and in my surprise she said, can we continue? So in that moment was not even important what happened to her. Something really wrong. We did not even have to communicate. That safety, the cycle was complete of safety, because, you know, like trauma informed courses, who study that, they know that the same event in the past might not bring trauma to you, because if you find a space of safety. So in Tantra, it's like you re-traumatize, not intentionally, but with a breath movement sound. You bring back to that place and you bring the safety and you
Yeah,
close the cycle. And
yeah.
then it's kind of like you take out that numbness. And when the numbness or pain leaves, the pleasure comes in. And it's like, that's amazing. So like all the body parts can be pleasurable, and all body parts needs attention. Even a finger can have something there.
Yes. And I want to ask, how does this work that's with this lady, how does it then impact her life? Because some people might think, well, I can live without being pleasured. Not everybody. Some people might think that. But what's the knock-on effect of having that, the body unlocked? How does
I
it affect
cannot
the rest
say
of their life?
for that lady, I can't say, because it was Berlin. It was clients brought to the Tantric Center and we had no contact to them.
Yep.
And of course, her feedback already after the session was the thing she received in that moment was more than the years of the therapy she's been through. So how is she later? I don't know, but from the other experiences, it's lifetime change.
Is it? In what way? Can you
Okay,
describe what
of course I
people?
can describe. So let's say everything is energy, isn't it? Frequency and energy. So if the frequency or the energy in you of being fearful, afraid of men is gone,
Yeah.
What can happen? You automatically attract men that they will not try to re-traumatize you, because all these men walking are kind of not consciously try to heal you. That's why they're gonna try to maybe rape you or just like grab you, do something that is not respectful, just because you carry something within that attracts that. So the effect is like when you let go, when you heal, not even heal, realign yourself to your true potential, then automatically different people are coming into your life. And
Okay,
that's
so I get
amazing.
that. So you could change the blueprint of what you attract. So if you're
Yeah,
still carrying the wound, you are more likely to attract people that are aligned with that wound,
always.
that are re-traumatizing. I
Yes.
can understand that. And then when you rewrite that blueprint, then you have different, you attract different people, but you also feel that you've probably got a lot more self-trust because you understand yourself better. You have hope.
Yes.
You know that you've just had a healing. You know something's different. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I understand what you mean about in that one session, it healed more than a year's worth of therapy because I think
When they work
talking out
together.
loud, yeah, and I think that talking therapy is our mind searching for understanding and an answer and a place for an experience to live and for a perspective that's easier to live with and understanding. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for talking therapy, but sometimes we've just got to do something that bypasses the conscious mind and the conscious understanding. Because if we only ever have experiences that we understand, we're going to be so very limited, aren't we? So like the fire walk, we can't understand why we can walk on fire and not burn our feet. But change our focus, same coal, same fire, same feet, change our focus.
Bring the fire more.
Exactly, exactly. And so it's an experience that defies logic. And I think that what you do, this embodied experience,
Yes.
is so valuable.
And it works together with talking therapy. Is no way that talking therapy is not right, because sometimes people need still to silence that monkey mind, and that's okay, or even be prepared to go deep for deeper work, I think. And I would include talking therapy, tantra work, and doctors, professionals. I would also include, if you have already something manifested in your body, you don't go to tantra to release the energy, move the energy, and you just expect that it's gonna heal. Sometimes just go to doctor. So like, I think more people can work together to bring people home. I just choose one part. I'm not a doctor. I have skills for talking therapy, but I'm not interested to dig deep. So find your therapist, body worker.
Yes. And so, how did you discover? So, back to this
Yeah.
pre-tantra, you're in this traumatized body and mind. How did you discover tantra in order to heal?
Okay.
Because it doesn't stick, because it's never been on a menu of options presented to me or my friends. And I know that we're in different worlds, really, aren't we? So this is why I'm loving our conversation, because I haven't had this conversation with anybody before. So
Well, there's
how
a
did
lot
you?
of people who are in this field, loads of, I could recommend like handful of amazing professionals to go to worldwide. So, but okay, how it started. If I just go, okay, so what happened? The first time I experienced Tantra was with my future husband. We went Prague, and he was already going for tantric services. And he said, "Well, would you like to have a couple massage?" Like, we choose what we want. Is naked a massage. Women, I think they were also getting naked. And it's like, and there was full body massage. We are in the same room. Amazing experience, really great. Went back home, life was passing by. I got married, got children. And one day I decided that I need maybe another session. And someone recommended in London, one beautiful lady, Polish lady, and she gave me a massage. And she said, "Oh, "You're so awake." And I was like, "What do you mean I'm awake? You're such an awakened woman. You should do this work." And it's like, come on. It's like, what are you saying? But that's something kind of like she planted a seed. I came back to her later and I said, "Okay, what do you mean by that? So what is the school?" And she recommended me the school. And in that moment, when I went to the school and I understand the chemistry of Tantra, I saw that I was self-healing for many years in a very destructive way
Wow.
through
Wow. So
sex.
your intention was to heal, or you didn't even have an intention?
Intention is always to heal, but the way I was behaving, or let's say I had maybe less sex than any female having a husband in my life, but if we do a body count, probably I will have much more.
I love that term, a body count.
Yeah, well, because that was body, that's truly what I would say body count. Because being kind of like a yes girl who cannot say no, or the opposite, like trying to attract, trying to seduce, trying to kind of get laid, even that was also part of it. But all what I really truly desired through that, re-traumatizing myself to heal, but I was just choosing wrong people. I mean, they're just a man.
Can I
Man,
just ask, what do you think you were doing? And do you think you were putting yourself in positions where you chose the time, you chose the person, you
not
chose
always.
where?
They
No.
chose me as well. Once it was very, very sad story, and I say love to you. Whatever, the girl will recognize me here, but I came here to tell the truth. Yeah. So one act of me being so open and nice, I was always, let's say, truthful, not a cheater. When I was a teenager, wanting to kiss another boy, I had to quit with a previous one. That's how I was. And I was already in the time of kind of engaged with my future husband, and I was still living in a dormitory, the student place. And I got really drunk with me and my friend, and there were two guys. Don't even remember the names. I would never ever recognize their faces. I got really drunk because it was like competition. I was competitive with that girl, like who can do more. And I felt so sick. And I did a mistake. I did not lock the door. And they came back. Both of them came back to me. And in the morning, I realized with the smell of the sperm that, of course, I had sex. That crushed me.
Yeah.
In that moment, I felt, okay, what am I gonna do? I have already like a boyfriend. And like I had to live with that. And that action without speaking up, what I teach women in Tantra, speak up. There's never your fault, no matter what happened. With that, I recreated the life that could be nice and healing with my future husband. Felt unworthy, I felt bad, and then later I allow people just to take me when they wanted. And not only this, that crushed me. I was thinking, okay, it happened. I don't remember them. I'm not gonna complain. Fine. A few years later, I learned that that girl told everyone around what happened to me. And she was a girl who was coincidentally in other cases like that when girls were raped. Not physically raped, but like something she was sometimes, somehow in some place. So as I see now, she was also subconsciously like recreating rape or things, but it was like, that's messed up. That's so wrong. And yes, so sexuality. I shared it like, oh my gosh, I said it, everything like, that's so good to say. And there's no blaming anyone. I take responsibility. However, then if Tantra would be not demonized from the early beginning, from the early stages of uh, even manhood, or for the girls, you don't have to do deep body work with them. It's just talk about it, voice yourself, have your boundaries. My daughter, she's 19. She knows everything about my work. And even her friends are happy to listen. And I don't even need to do body work to them. We just can talk about it. Now my ex-husband, I'm divorced. Well, things happens. So he is fully supporting me as well in my journey. He even joined the first model in the same school just to check what's that, because it always can sound like, what is this? Like some cult. So yeah, he saw, and he trusts that all I do is good. So now I'm fully supported. So again, to answer that question, like, how did I do? I don't know. Trial and error. I did many things wrong and right. Now I could just guide people to do the right thing.
I think it's, when we've had a childhood of trauma in our then late teens and 20s, we are reliving a reflection of it in some way. And we don't just leave,
Yes.
we don't go from the trauma straight into the healing. We go through this battleground almost. Not everybody, I get it, but we go through almost this battleground of reenacting the pain in different ways.
Yes. And we're addicted to that pain.
Yeah, it's a vibration that we're familiar with. The discomfort, the lack of self-worth, the abandonment, where we've been abandoned, we then abandon ourselves, and then we
And we
put
choose
ourselves.
people who are gonna abandon us.
Yes, and we
Yes.
find people that are going to be avoidant and not here for a long time. And so we keep recreating the vibration that our system's familiar with. So what I think we go through a period of having the trauma, then recreating it ourselves because we're used to it, and then people, from the observer, the people that are observing, they're like, oh look, so and so's gone off the rails, and there's a little bit of judgment towards it rather than what's that a reflection of? What's going on there that person is reliving because it's what they know. And then there's I always think it's, for me, I was introduced to, well, coaching really. And then from that point, I then started to heal that childhood. I then healed the reliving it in my 20s. But it's a bit like life gives you, as you call it, the modality, and then we take the opportunity because I thought I'm going to do this for other people. I don't need healing. I'm going to be doing it on other people. And little did I know that that was just the beginning. And it takes a lot of courage to think, I need this. And then I found the other modalities. I became a hypnotherapist and master practitioner of NLP and hypnosis, but the most powerful one being the firewalking process.
Oh, yes. That's beautiful.
Isn't it? And that to me did the biggest amount of healing that is unquantifiable. But what I can say is I'm no longer sabotaging, manipulating, blowing up my life, my friendships, my relationships, my happiness, my success. And so I can see with you that kind of timeline really of the trauma, the reliving it, then the experiencing something that healed the wound, that then you became the wounded healer.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it makes for anybody coming to see you and be with you. I think there's a trust that people must feel because they think without you having to share your story, they know this person's got here. Yeah, I feel like they know this person's got here through a lived experience. And
there's nothing I could judge. Just bring it on, challenge me. Because we would need 10 podcasts to share, but that's still, there are things that still touches me and I'm still healing. Like one beautiful theta healer, Skylar, when I asked her about Tantra, is it my path? Should I do it or not? So she was inviting me not to wait. And you, Lisa, don't wait to be perfect.
yeah,
Share now, because when you are on the mountain, you are on the mountain. And while you are still healing, there are so many people you can lift up and continue your journey. And yes, I'm that person that still does not have a cervical orgasm, which exists. I still don't have cervical waters that comes out that exist, like the third waters of women. like being wet, having ejaculation, and there are another waters. For me, they're still not open. I'm on my own journey, but at least I can guide you to that G spot, A spot, or whatever body orgasm,
What's the misconception that people commonly have about Tantra and the work that you do? What's a misconception?
Okay, so let's talk now for the moment. I thought that it would be more efficient to work with men only, because I had to overcome the shaming, the blaming, the bitching or something that I'm doing something wrong. But after many times when in tantric journey or like some places when couples are asking me to come in and help them and trusting me, or wife send her husband to me, I said like, oh my gosh, so I'm trustworthy. Because I was like, say, okay, I cannot touch a man because like if someone else's man, I don't want that kind of like some female to come and smash my windows, if she finds out where I live. So when I healed that trauma, judgment trauma, like being judged, because I know where the space I'm coming from. So I decided to work with men only. And why? It can be women as well, but I can guide men how to treat women and awaken their own female. So the biggest misconception from men's side is like, is there a happy ending? Because it looks like there's nothing else in this body of a man. It's just to have an ejaculation. And they think that is so exciting for females. For traumatized, yes. For traumatized ladies, if man does not ejaculate, doesn't see the ejaculation, say, oh, you don't like me. Am I not attractive? If a man doesn't orgasm, it's like, so that's a misconception that we need to do something with our bodies, like even having orgasms. And what is the opposite for man is to show that, like my teacher said, yes, I offer, like, no, I don't offer happy endings. I offer happier ending. It's like, how does it feel like to hold, bring the blood and energy into your lingam and spread it in your body?
Right.
If you want to pay, like you can pay £50 somewhere else and have that, or you can do it yourself. Why coming to me? So sometimes it can happen when there is a release of erectile dysfunctions and you work through it. There's no shame to ejaculate either. But misconception is to come for pleasure. And definitely it is pleasurable when you, first of all, find the body parts there's no pleasure. And imagine if you unlock them, release them, how much more pleasure you can have in your body. So that's the one misconception. And other thing is like that if you come, you're gonna have like a pleasing service.
Right.
Because also I do body to body when a man is ready. But that readiness is like, can you really surrender? Can you not touch me? Can I energetically feel that it is coming from your heart? And just to feel my body as the feminine side of your inner, like inside, like, can you just receive me? And again, take back this energy to yourself. I'm just reflecting what is yours. So that's kind of, again, is that a pleasure service? Pleasurable, yes, but that's not a pleasure service. And then there are also there like the energy of the mouth, like a kiss, is different frequency than hands. Yoni is, oh wow, it penetrates all the body and everything, but that's that's not the subject. So the kiss, if you kiss the body parts, I just say I don't kiss lips or lingam because it is like, it's hard to explain the person not to receive it properly because they think it's sexual. But kissing an ear or scar, or even like going through your body and smelling your armpit, some people are not happy with their odor. That's a trauma. So there are senses of smell. I can smell all your body parts. I'm not gonna lie if something has not nice smell, but it's like some other body parts that they have a nice smell or something, I gonna give you compliments. So there's another thing. It's like, so like I can be so devoted to the person's body, but that's only for that person. Bring your power back. I love your body so much. That's how you love yourself.
So it sounds like you have a very active role in the healing, that you are participating in it, but it's not to be misconstrued with overstepping a line. It's
No.
therefore uh, unlocking, releasing, connecting.
Yes.
But in order to do that, you are active in it.
Yes, it is active. And activity is with a man, they need to be passive, fully passive, in order to receive that activeness. Because the moment if the man feels like kind of his energy comes in, for me, naturally, it's like it locks, okay, there's silence and peace and stillness. If you want more energies to move, it's more. For women, it's the opposite, is to activate the Shakti, to activate her, to be more like aroused and happy. And for man to put to sleep, and it goes like you put a man to his feminine. So when this is a safe man, and he shows that in like with his partner or woman or wife, bring back that knowledge back home. And can he wait till a woman says like, I desire you, love, can you penetrate me, can we make love? And still the answer is like in the moment, lovely, like, or something. Is there are so many tricks and things, like being so open from me, from my side, and still not taking anything from the man, nothing, like seeing like a doctor in some way, but the doctor who also allows the sexual energy flow through both, because then two become one. But because I feel more conscious and more and more and more and more, I don't get into trouble. None of the clients are even asking me for coffee after that. Oh my gosh, I'm so poor.
And so here's a question that I don't know if it's just me thinking it, and I don't even know if I'm being disrespectful in asking
Bring
it.
it on. I love it. Like, I really love it.
Are you naked as well?
Yeah.
So you can be, you're not always, but you can
So
be.
let's say there are steps. Of
Right.
course, I can be naked too. Oh, it's so, I like being naked. Like, but the thing is, to get to the stage for a man, for me to be naked, you have to prove me while you are clothes on and I am clothes on, because this is the level 1A I call.
It's a
And
what?
can you, 1A, like there are levels of Tantra.
1A. Got
1A
you.
is like 1A, 1B, 2, 2 plus 3. So, like, can you in level A come and be fully dressed on yourself, like some t-shirt and trousers, and I'm dressed on, or you can be naked and I'm dressed on, like 1B. Are you able to hold yourself? Are you able to surrender? It's like, and it's very easy. You can see it immediately. So for those men who are absolutely closing their eyes and they are, let's say, tuning back to themselves in their masculinity, that's so nice to be naked. Then you don't have to wash your clothes. Oily clothes that you put oil on the body. So I like it. I even like it, to be honest, but I don't offer when a man is not ready. And readiness, can he respect me? Can it be from the heart? And when I was working in Berlin, for example, I saw, because that was the rule, to be naked. That's why I overcame that trauma of my, like, because in Tantric Journey, we clothes on only therapy. So then one man was like peeking and looking at me, and I noticed that, and I said, do you want to look at me? He said, like, I'm sorry. I said, that's okay. So I sat in the position with my breast towards him. I said, open your eyes. This is the body of a female. That's a breast that nurtures children. This is like, and then he kind of really like relaxed, and I said, no, I can't. It's like, it's not good to look at. I said, who told you that it's not good to look at woman's body? Why there is a shame? So I use my nakedness also to override his trauma of looking at woman's body, because he was like secretly still like looking and trying to see me. And then after that cycle, or to cutie pie, he just like closed his eyes, surrendered, and I could continue my massage.
Amazing. Wow. Does it take a lot of courage to be you doing this work? Because you just sound so free. Yeah. What does it take to do this work?
It takes courage to look deep into your own shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes that, and just like everything is just kind of bring us back to our troubles. And the more I see triggers in life, the more I look inside and I see what else, where there is self-judgment. Because if I don't judge my nakedness, if I see my body, my cellulite, but like all the things that I am, like as that's my story, that's my body, that's my vehicle. So if I see that, why would anyone would judge me? And if they judge me, maybe that's a seed for their healing. But it's up to them to take it or not. But I cannot be not that. So you can ask me any questions. There's no question that can trigger me.
I feel that this is just so, you're being so open and so honest and so real. It's absolutely, I can completely understand how it is healing for people being in your presence. How do you get business? I say it like,
Okay.
I said business like it's a bad word. How do you get business?
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
prefer to fuck thousands men for free than charge money. Oh, how come it's a business? Yeah, that's another shadow of female that I had to overcome. So my business was business, like going to working in Berlin, there where no one sees, coming only by recommendation. Like, okay, and I kind of even see because some people try to sneak in, and I know because I kind of know the network, I know people I'm working with. It's just like I'm so aware. I was not publishing myself, still getting clients, yeah. But now, because of you, my lovely, I had to do it open. No, what I did, I just now updated my website. It was never a secret. It was just not marketed. I had a website and now it's refreshed.
It's beautiful and it's really sensual, but it's classy and elegant and heart-centered and
Thank you.
calm and loving, and but also unapologetically you is.
But who else I can be?
Yes, and maybe you can put this conversation on your website if you need to.
It
Yeah,
would be nice, of course.
yes. And in closing, then, we've been talking for 50 minutes, it feels like 5, and I'm sure that once we hang up, say goodbye, I'll think, I wish I'd asked her that, I wish I'd asked her that. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions that people will have, so I'll have to get you back for the even braver questions out there. But
Bring it all. There's no question cannot be answered.
in closing, then, what is your top tip or your bit of wisdom for someone who feels shut down for whatever reason? What's the first tip you would give them?
Okay, feel into it. Just feel it and find help who can just help to go through that feeling, experiencing it, and that they see how that shutdown would transform into what, and no expectation of being shut down to be opened up. Maybe there's another journey. Just stay curious, I would say. Stay curious what this shutdown means to that person and what is it. And definitely, there are many modalities, not only Tantra. Lisa is one of other therapies that you do. It's like it can be guided. I think it's a very easy question. Just find a person you trust. Don't be alone. You are worthy. You are loved. You are needed. And please, we need you all open and dance this life and celebrate.
It's interesting the bit that you say, don't do it alone. So many people feel. I was talking to somebody last week who's in a really tricky place in their life, and we were talking through the possibility of me coaching her. And she came back. I mean, it's near Christmas, the money was a factor, but she said, I feel like I need to do this myself on my own.
Mm,
It's interesting, this belief that if somebody
yeah.
helps us, then we're less in some way. And actually, I was walking Lexi this morning thinking about just how powerful and amazing coaching is, and doing something with somebody, how amazing it is that you get to see what your own thoughts are. You get to see your own magnificence so that you can
Mhm.
give me more of it. And you also get to see and hear where your unconscious blocks are, that you think, oh, I didn't realize I was believing that. And
Yes.
but to be all of that to yourself and live this very busy, high demand life is a lot. And so I love that you said, and be with someone,
Yes.
go through this with someone. We definitely need to set up another podcast because we've not talked about family constellation or the silver method. And I definitely want to explore that with you. But for now,
Thank
and
you.
love, thank you so much for your love,
Amber,
your
love me.
openness. Yes, thank you so much, darling.
Thank you, Lisa. You are my star. And looking forward for the other conversations with you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you would like to be involved in the Meant for More movement, then please drop me a line at lisa@lisaclifford.co.uk. Whether that's you're interested in being on the podcast, taking part in any of the trainings, or would just love to know how you can help empower others, then let's have a conversation. Thank you for listening, and we'll connect again very soon.